What would you do if the people you loved most were the only thing standing between you and complete poverty? I was born into a family that had nothing. No money, no property, not even a proper roof over our heads. But what we did have was love, and that love carried us through storms that could have broken anyone else. I grew up in a world where poverty wasn't just a circumstance, it was our everyday reality. My father drove a tricycle, often leaving before sunrise and returning late at night, his face burned by the sun and his hands cracked from the handlebars. My mother washed clothes for neighbors, carrying pails of water and heavy bundles, her back bent but her smile always present. Our home was made of thin bamboo walls patched with old tarpaulins. The roof leaked whenever it rained, and we would place every pot, cup, and bucket we owned around the room to catch the dripping water. At night, when the storms raged, we huddled close together on a single mattress, pretending it was an adventure so the younger ones wouldn't cry. Food was simple, sometimes too simple. There were days when dinner was just rice sprinkled with salt, or rice soaked in coffee to make it stretch. On good days, we had dried fish or a few vegetables from neighbors who pitied us. Yet my father would still say, "Anak, be thankful. Some people don't even have this." Despite everything, my parents never let us feel poor in spirit. My father cracked jokes even when his body ached. My mother hummed old songs while scrubbing clothes, as if music could scrub away our worries too. They never let despair settle in our home. Instead, they planted hope in our hearts every single day. I remember one Christmas vividly. We had no money for gifts, and not even enough for a proper meal. My siblings and I didn't expect anything special. But that afternoon, my father disappeared without saying where he was going. Hours later, he came back, carrying a small roasted chicken. He admitted later that he had borrowed money just to buy it. That night, we shared the chicken in tiny portions, laughing, singing Christmas carols, pretending we had a feast. It was one of the happiest nights of my childhood, not because of the food, but because my father had refused to let poverty steal the spirit of Christmas from us. As we grew older, the weight of poverty grew heavier. School was difficult. Many times, my siblings and I had to stop because we couldn't to pay for tuition or even basic supplies. I'll never forget the day I cried in the corner of our classroom because I had no notebook, and my teacher noticed. That same day, my mother appeared with secondhand notebooks from a distant relative. They were worn out, but to me, they were treasures. My father always said, "Education is your way out. Work hard. One day, you'll break this chain of poverty." Those words became our mantra, so we did everything we could. I sold snacks in school during breaks, carrying a small basket of kakanin. My older brother worked as a helper in a bakery, waking up at 3 a.m. to deliver bread before school. My younger sister helped my mother with laundry, her little hands wrinkled from soap and water at an age when she should have been playing. We all played our part. Every coin mattered. Every peso saved meant another day of schooling. The turning point came when my brother earned a scholarship for engineering. I followed with accounting, thanks to a kind teacher who helped sponsor part of my tuition. My sister was able to study nursing with the help of neighbors who believed in us. Those years were the hardest. I remember studying by candlelight, my eyelids heavy from exhaustion after selling all day. My brother sometimes came home with burns on his arms from bakery ovens, but he never complained. My sister sometimes fainted from exhaustion after long hours of helping Mama, but she always got back up the next day, determined not to be a burden. Years passed in that rhythm of sacrifice, and finally, our hard work began to bear fruit. My brother graduated first, walking on stage in his borrowed toga. Papa and Mama cried openly, clapping louder than anyone in the crowd. When it was my turn, my parents held hands, their eyes glistening with pride. And when my sister finally graduated, Papa whispered, "Now I can rest. My children will live the life I never had." True to his words, life began to change. With our degrees, we found jobs that gave us dignity. My brother became an engineer, I worked at an accounting firm, and my sister eventually secured a nursing job in the city. We pulled our earnings together to move our parents out of that fragile bamboo house and into a real home made of concrete and stone. The first night we slept there, Mama walked from room to room, running her hands along the walls as if to make sure it was real. "Anak," she said, "we finally have a house that won't fall when the wind blows." Papa sat quietly on the porch that night, smoking his first cigarette in years, staring up at the roof. "No leaks," he whispered with a small smile. Life became kinder to us. As the years rolled on, we built not just stability, but success. We pooled our savings and opened a small business. It grew, slowly at first, then faster than we imagined. We reinvested, expanded, and within a decade, our family had gone from eating rice with salt to running a business empire. Papa, once called just the driver, was now Sir when he stepped into his own company. Mama, once scrubbing other people's laundry, now wore dresses her children bought her, and she walked into restaurants she once only passed by. But here's the thing about life. Blessings come with their own trials. And sometimes, the storm doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. My brother married a woman named Elena. At first, she seemed perfect. Soft-spoken, caring, polite to Mama and Papa. She always brought gifts during family dinners and spoke as if she adored being part of us. But slowly, the cracks began to show. She started with small complaints. "Why do we always have to eat at your parents' house?" Or, "Why is so much money going back into the family business instead of ours?" My brother would brush it off, but her whispers grew louder over time. She convinced him that he was being cheated, that Mama and Papa had already received enough. One night, during a family dinner, she finally snapped. She slammed her fork down and said, "Why do we have to keep giving money to your parents? Haven't they taken enough? It's time to think about our own future." The room went silent. Papa's hand trembled slightly as he put down his spoon. Mama tried to smile, but I saw her eyes welling up. For them, it was never about the money. It was about love, respect, and the promise that we would always take care of one another. After that night, things worsened. My brother began skipping family meetings, ignoring business decisions, and worst of all, distancing himself from Papa and Mama. Elena pushed harder, pressuring him to transfer his shares of the business to her name. She even began meddling in company affairs, meeting with lawyers behind our backs. When we confronted my brother, he shouted, "You're all trying to control me. Elena just wants what's fair." I wanted to scream back, but Papa raised his hand. His voice was calm but heavy with sorrow. "Son, money can be lost. Businesses can fall. But if you let greed take over, you'll lose the only treasure worth keeping, your family." Those words hit like a stone thrown into still water. The silence was unbearable. My brother didn't reply. He just walked out, Elena following close behind with a smug look on her face. The weeks that followed were some of the hardest. Legal papers started showing up. Elena had convinced my brother to sign documents that would give her control of some of our properties. She even attempted to sell off a piece of land that Papa had dreamed of turning into a family farm. It felt like betrayal, layered upon betrayal. But Mama never gave up on my brother. Every night she prayed for him. Every morning she prepared his favorite food, hoping he would visit. One evening, she said to me softly, "A mother never stops believing in her children. One day, he'll remember who he is." And she was right. One night my brother came home alone. His eyes were swollen from crying. He sat on the porch where Papa used to smoke and said nothing for a long time. Finally, he broke down. "I don't know what to do," he whispered. "I thought she loved me, but all she wanted was money. She tried to sell Mama's land without even asking me." Papa sat beside him, placed a hand on his shoulder, and simply said, "Then fight, son. Not against us, but with us. Fight for your family." From that moment, my brother returned to us. Together, as a family, we confronted Elena's schemes. It wasn't easy. There were legal battles, lies exposed, and painful days in court. But we stood side by side, just as we had during our childhood storms, just as we had when the roof leaked and the pots overflowed. And we won. Elena's true intentions were revealed, her manipulations laid bare. She left, bitter and angry, but powerless. My brother, though broken by betrayal, was embraced by us without hesitation. Mama hugged him tightly and whispered, "Families fight, but they also forgive. You're still my son." That moment healed wounds no court ruling ever could. Today, when I look back at our journey, from children huddled under a leaking roof to a family sitting in boardrooms, I realize something profound. It was never money that saved us. It was never success or titles. It was the love of two parents who gave everything, and the bond of siblings who chose unity over greed. Every year, on Mama and Papa's anniversary, we gather at the home we built for them. We share stories of the past, laugh about the days of rice and salt, and cry over the battles we survived. And at the end of every night, Papa raises a glass and says, "Our wealth is not in our bank accounts. It is here, in this room, in this family." And he's right. Because in the end, the greatest inheritance they ever gave us wasn't money. It was love. Love that endured hunger, hardship, betrayal, and even greed. Love that turned a poor family into a strong one. Love that will outlast everything else. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And if you'd love to hear more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next one. Your support means the world, and together, we'll keep sharing stories that inspire, entertain, and stay with you long after the video ends.